Everyone is going to leave you. Everyone is going to let you down. Well, it seems like a terrible conclusion to make. Seems like some kind of hell to live in. There is one exception that will fill you with unimaginable hope. And that is the fact that God will be there for you no matter what. We will be beaten down and suffer in almost every way imaginable. It'll feel like we're picking up that cross and following Christ straight to the afterlife. And I get it. It sounds awful. It sounds like, what's the point of that? Why would I be here doing this if all there is suffering? But I didn't say all there is suffering. Because if the story ended there, where everyone's going to let you down, no matter what, if you put your faith in man, can be your closest loved ones, they're going to let you down. It's not something you should worry about. It's not something that should keep you up at night or say, what's the point of all this? Because when you have faith in God, when you have that unconditional love that He brings you, it won't matter if people fail you. It won't matter if people let you down. It won't matter. You have to excuse me, these bugs are everywhere still. It won't matter what happens in your life. You'll be ready for all of it. Christianity especially, but all religions, are a hard road. This is why so many people reject them, especially today, when no one wants to do anything that challenges them in any kind of way, unless it's going to bring them fame or notoriety or something like that. But getting to know God isn't going to bring you all these things. It can if that's God's will for you. But then you have to fight off the demons of corruption. We see God's plan for us and how all these temporary things become permanent. Yes, it's, in the afterlife you'll get your eternal reward. And that is true. That is absolutely true if you are faithful to God. But I found that through the Holy Spirit and whatever I can only speak for Christians. I can only speak for Christianity because that is the way that God called me to follow Him. I'm sure there's some other way in these other religions. If not, maybe you should start looking around for one that is. Because in Christianity, we are called to suffer. We're usually only called after we've suffered immensely, though. And the Holy Spirit can lift you from all that suffering, from all that grief, from all the anguish. It's not going to take away the pain. It's not going to heal you completely unless that's what you need. Because oftentimes we have to have things like with me, I have this nerve pain, and it's always flaring up. There's good and bad days, obviously. But most days I'm in pretty intense pain. But God showed me the reasons for this. He showed me because I am to be an example for others, maybe you, that somebody who is suffering this much, and I wish that was the only way I was suffering. I'd gone through every imaginable, not as bad as some, but the overwhelming pain and agony I was in, it makes it all worth it. It gives it all meaning. It's what Christians see, that following Christ in his suffering gives everything meaning. Not only that, but the knowledge that the Holy Spirit gives you will open your eyes. At first, it opens it quite a bit. You've had your eyes closed for your whole life. And then you see that little glimmer of light through the squinted eyes. And it is intense. It is miraculous. But little by little, as we pledge our faith and our lives to him, to God, the Son and the Father, and the Holy Spirit, we see more and more every day. Our eyes are opened until they are opened wide. And we see the impurities in our life. You're all going to have those impure thoughts. It's just never going to go away until you are completely cleansed. And then they'll still find a way to get in. Because you can never be to that perfect place. We're always practicing Christianity. We are students of Christ, disciples, apostles. But we will never be Christ. That is why we have to let Christ work through us. We can't do this on our own. I know it's hard. When you're called to the way, we are going through immense struggles. But think about the suffering that Christ was going to go through. His people were going to shun him and mock him. His closest family, his disciples, they were going to act like they never even knew him, deny him. He was going to be led to the most brutal and shameful death imaginable. I listened to the story of the crucifixion and the suffering he endured quite a bit. And it's a hard thing to listen to. It's hard to think about. He even stayed in the garden and prayed until his skin bled. Now, he knew what he had to do. He knew he had to do all of this. He knew he had to go through the shame and the humiliation and the suffering. And he knew how bad it was going to be. But he also knew how he would save so many souls by doing this, by being the example for God. I think that many of us who have suffered immensely already, are called to be an example to others, a testament to his power and glory. I can't promise you that the mental and physical pain will ever go away. There will always be plenty of that. But I can promise you that he will ease your suffering. That sometimes, even during that pain, I am grateful for every moment. Every moment. Now, when I'm maxed out on pain and all I can hear is that staticky noise in my head because it's just filling my thoughts, it's hard to stop and take time to say, oh, well, I'm thankful for this moment too. Because who in their right mind is thankful for that? Who in their right mind is thankful for suffering? But I'm not suffering anymore. I'm telling you, even during those times, and I'm sure there'll be times when I am suffering again. It's something that I've already said I'm going to go through in some way, shape, or form. But I am so thankful that I got to be here and be an example for others, to lift them from that hell that they are stuck in. I know so many of you are. So many of you think there's no getting out of this. That's what I thought. I told the story many times of, there was twice in my life when I just wanted it all to be over. I just wanted to end it all. This last time, when I was 42 years old, about a year and a half ago, it wasn't the worst time. The worst time was the first, because I'd never been saved before. But when I was saved that first time, when I was about 20 years old maybe, I didn't have direction like I do now, because I still had so much to go through, and God couldn't tell me that, because that would ruin everything that I needed to learn. If God had given me that hope then, when my ego still thought that I could get through it all, then there would be no lessons learned that I needed to learn. I had to learn that my way was never going to be the right way. No matter how many great ideas I thought I had, how many dreams I thought I was chasing, how many passions I had in my life, unless I was following God and walking in the path of Christ, in the light of Christ, it was never going to work out. I was always going to come crashing down. We take up the cross as Christians. We take up the cross and we walk along with Christ. When you finally give yourself to Him completely, and I mean completely, we might say, well, oh yeah, well, I've done that. I've met God. I've done everything I'm supposed to do, right? No. The fact that you're even asking that means that you haven't done what you need to do to give yourself to him completely. I do mean completely. Now, there are many things in my life that still impure. There's never going to be a life without sin. But I've watched as I have all kinds of little vices and little, as I said, impure thoughts. I've watched how especially since I understood that it was the Holy Spirit that saved me that day, that God sent the Holy Spirit for me. I've watched them slowly just be washed away by that holy water. It's like a little tiny drop in a polluted puddle. And the drop of pure water, every time it hits, it dilutes that pollution. And every day that you give yourself more and more to God, more of that holy water goes in, diluting that darkness, diluting that sickness that comes with our fallen world. Now, I don't know if we'll ever get to the place where we're completely pure. I don't know if we're supposed to. But that drop of pure water is worth more than an entire ocean of that polluted water. You will find yourself backsliding. You will find yourself forcing yourself to know God. You have to stop all that. It's not about forcing yourself to do anything. God will never leave you. Do you understand? I don't care if your mom or dad left you. Maybe they died at a young age. Maybe they were just awful people and they just left. I don't care if your husband or wife left you. Maybe it was your fault. Maybe it was theirs. No matter what, you have to understand that He will never leave you. Christ is the truth. God is the rock in which our foundation needs to be. I hear the rooster crowing over there. I don't know where. I guess he's across the river back there. But all right, everybody. I've been feeling a little down the last couple of days, so I'm going to wrap this up. I just want you to remember that I can tell you I will be here for you, and I will always try to be. And I will do my best for all of you. And I understand that there's not a whole lot I can do other than talk to you to bring you hope, because I am disabled myself. I have to go home when I'm done with my filming my videos or my walks, and I have to sit in my recliner until my back stops screaming at me. But you shouldn't be putting your faith in me anyway. You can get a hope. You can get inspiration. You can get all those things from me or from anyone else you can find it through. But don't put your faith in me. Don't put your faith in anyone else. Put your faith only in God. And through that faith, you will find that it doesn't matter when people let you down. It doesn't matter if people leave you. Sure, it might feel awful sometimes. Bad things that happen in life never feel good. Or what's the point of them being bad? No, those are the times that you lean on God. Those are the times that you don't get pulled down into the pits of despair, into your own hell. God is there for you. He will lift you up through any situation as long as you put your faith completely into Him. And that means it means a lot, because you can't prove anything about God except for some circumstantial evidence. You can prove that Christ was a real person, I guess, but you can't prove the miracles and the resurrection. There was no cameras back there showing it, and even if there was, nobody would believe it. I'm not saying nobody. A lot of people would still not believe it. But you just have to put your faith in Him. And don't be sad. Don't fear abandonment. Cherish the people that are in your life for as long as they are. If they're bad, toxic people, and you have to have them in your life for some reason, maybe they're family, you just do what you can to not let their darkness rub off on you. Because there's always going to be people like that. There's going to be probably more of them than there are good people. But I'm telling you, that light shines brighter than any darkness. The darkness is nothing. It cowers in the light. And with God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or whatever way you're called to God, that light will shine through you. All right, God bless everyone. We'll talk to you soon.